Hi guys, it's Lily in the Postmodern Mom. Welcome to another makeup monologue. Today I'm going to be talking about what does it mean to be female, or what is femininity. I'm going to try and do this really quickly because my battery is on very low and I am getting kind of lazy. I don't want to go downstairs to get a new battery quite yet, so I'm going to see how long this will record me doing my makeup and talking about femininity. So this came up just recently on Twitter. I tweet a lot about what it means to be feminine, and sometimes I engage with people who are not necessarily following me. I engage with people who are feminists and try to push them a little bit on what their thinking is like. And this morning the commentary was about how COVID-19 has driven 1 out of 4 women no longer wanting to work. They would rather just stay home. And I thought, oh, that's great news. They can take care of their children, and plus men are probably better suited for working outside of the home anyway. And of course then you got some people wondering, what are you talking about? Like, how can you even say that? And I think our modern mindset is so entrenched in feminist ideology that we don't even realize that we are in the middle of this battle. We are battling ideologies, and one of the biggest things right now that we're battling is this idea of equality. And I do believe that men and women are equal in value, absolutely. We were created in the image of God, and He doesn't favor men over women, but He clearly gave us different roles, different responsibilities, and as we've gone further and further away from what God wants for our lives, we've swallowed the lies that feminists have put forward. And feminists have lied to women, saying that we are just as capable as men in everything. You know, people think that women should be in the army, in the military, should be on the battlefield, and I don't think so. I don't think they should, because men are physically more adept, they're stronger than women in general. So, and then beyond the physical, there's an emotional, mental difference because our bodies are made differently and we have different hormones in our bodies. So I think women are more inclined to being more agreeable, and Jordan Peterson talks a lot about agreeability and the difference between men and women. And he doesn't say like, oh, you can't, women, you shouldn't be disagreeable. He's saying, women, if you want to succeed in the workplace, then you should become more disagreeable to succeed. This is the Fuera, look, it's all rubbed off. It's really cheap. It's like £4 per bottle. So I got 2, and then I mixed the 2 to make my right color. I've been favoring this recently. Mainly because it's inexpensive, and I think sometimes when you are putting makeup on almost every day, it gets quite costly. So I like that this is quite inexpensive. So I put both of them on my hand here, and then I'm going to mix it with a little bit of night cream. This is the Sephora night cream I got from America, which I can't seem to find here. So what is femininity? What does it mean to be female? I mean, a lot of people think that men and women are no different, that there is no difference, and that's just not true. So what is it about women that makes us women? What makes us different? Let's think about it biologically. Women were created to get pregnant, to give birth, and to breastfeed, to nurture, and then to raise children, okay? Beyond that beyond that physical nature, the biological nature of women, I'm not going to comment on that right now. So if we just talked about the biologically, women were created so we would get pregnant, grow babies inside our bodies, give birth to them, and breastfeed them, okay? And maybe you guys don't realize, but breastfeeding is natural, and we were made to breastfeed. That's why we have breasts that produce milk. These milk ducts happen naturally in our bodies, and and that's what we were created to feed our babies after we give birth to them. Formula is not the same as breastfeeding, okay? And you may have your own reasons for formula feeding, but I'm not going to get into that now. It just biologically, women were created for babies, like for the creation of babies. And if you follow that logic, then that is a marked difference between men and women. Men cannot get pregnant, they cannot give birth, and they cannot breastfeed their babies, okay? This is biologically just not what they were created to do. So if you follow that logic, then the physical, there are always emotional, it's tied, emotional and spiritual and psychological manifestations of these physical differences. So in our bodies, women are different than men, and we have been created for bearing children. And a lot of people struggle with infertility. I'm not talking about you guys, like, that doesn't mean that, oh, then therefore God must have created some people. I'm not going to get into that. I struggled with infertility as well. But that could just be a mark of our time and how unhealthy our diets are, and certain things that affect fertility are so prevalent in today's society. But moving forward about this idea of men, of what is it to be female. So women are naturally inclined to raising children, okay? So if we take that logic and we move it forward, women are more nurturers, they are more agreeable, they may have more patience when it comes to dealing with children, they are a little bit less confrontational, physically not as strong as men, and all of these make you more female. Now, how would you enhance your female aspects? Well, that's what we call embracing femininity. So embracing the thing that makes you different from a man, okay? And so sometimes I embrace the fact that I am more emotional than my husband. And a lot of people look at that as like, oh, I can't believe you would say that you're emotional, because clearly that's a terrible thing. Well, it actually has its advantages. Because we are more emotional, we think about things differently than men. And it's nice to have that different perspective. And I think there are advantages to it as well. In terms of how we raise children. You know, if we were stoic like men, maybe the extreme side of a man would be, then our children might never get that kind of softness that they might need for certain moments where they just need a hug, right? So thankfully, we are supposed to be different than men. Now, it doesn't mean that every woman is different than every man, right? And it doesn't mean that because you're a woman, you are black, white, like different, totally different. No, I think we all have different scales of femininity and masculinity in our character and our personalities. So embracing femininity just means to emphasize the difference. So for women, back in the day, maybe not today, but women used to dress remarkably different than men. And that would be like skirts, or having long braids in your hair, or maybe putting on makeup. And so in today's society, I think women putting on makeup, that's a feminine trait. So, which is a thing that is a nice thing to do. So it's nice to put on makeup. You want to be sensible, you don't want to be like a clown. But that's one way that you could enhance your femininity. And then dressing certain ways. But then there are emotional and psychological characteristics that are more feminine. So being softer, being gentler, softer spoken, not as controversial or aggressive, not being aggressive. These are traits that should be embraced by women if you want to embrace your femininity and just to show your difference, how different you are from men. I think that kind of difference in attitude and personality I think men really like. They like when they see a woman who's fair, soft and gentle and almost delicate. They like that. A lot of men like that, especially the masculine men. Just give you a close shot of my palette here that I got from Poundland here. I think what people get confused about are moral character, and they think that masculinity or things that are known to be masculine is like morally better than things that are known to be feminine. So for example, we look at stoicism, right? Not being emotional, and we think for some reason that not being emotional is better than being emotional. I think there are moments where it is better to be emotional. You should show your emotion if you're grieving, if you're sad. But then if you're a man and you're in the middle of a battle, that's not the time to break down and cry. So there are different things that it doesn't mean that you're morally not good if you are more emotional. And this is true for attitudes like if you're loving and gentle, like those are great things, and men can show that too, but there are appropriate situations, and they also show that love and gentleness in a different way. So no one has a monopoly, women don't have a monopoly on gentleness, right? Men can show gentleness, but they just show it in a different way. And I think that's where some people get really confused about when we're talking about being feminine and masculine. They think all the good qualities belong to the masculine, and therefore to be feminine is being not good, is being weak or a pushover. But there are elements to being feminine that are perfect for women, but not necessarily good for men, and same thing vice versa. And then there are traits that we both share, but we express in different ways. Am I being clear? Okay, I'm gonna put my Dr. Fix mascara on. But the thing that's happening today in the church, in the Christian church, is that men have become more feminine. So it's not a good thing. What we see in the church are men who are not willing to stand up to what they think is wrong, because they think that the character of being loving and accepting is more important than standing for the truth and being bold. Now, that is something that's just morally different. We've changed as Christian men. Christian men used to be more masculine. They used to be the kinds that would get up and fight for what they thought was good. These days it seems like Christian men just have to put up with everything, and they think that it's not Christian if you say, no, I'm not gonna give in on this thing here, and there. Something that's, there have been so many things that have been happening in our schools that the Christians seem to have just rolled over and died on. They don't even care. They just roll over and do whatever the government says that you have to do in order to have a school open. And so things like gender identity, why is it that this is being pushed in the schools as young as 4? Why do they have to even worry about if they're a boy or a girl at that age? These issues are things that I think masculine men in the church used to and would have stood their ground and said, wait a second, if you're going to do this in the school, I'm not going to partake. I'm going to take my kids out. But these days, it seems like the Christians are just going along with it because they think it's a Christian value to be tolerant of sin and corruption of good things. We need the men to be more masculine. We don't need the women to be more masculine. The only reason why women have become more masculine is because men have become less masculine, and allowing these women to do what they want, allowing them to step in and change laws and make decisions for the school system that I don't agree with. But it's not my role as a woman to be the one in the front line saying, I disagree. And it's amazing if you are a woman and you are doing that, but it sometimes lessens the men from being responsible. Like they don't feel as responsible because, oh, if you can take care of it, then I'm gonna step back. We can only have that case in the modern day because before machinery, men did all of the heavy lifting. Men still do a lot of the heavy lifting. And if you think that men and women are equal, just go and try and like build a house. The more women want to take over, the less men are going to take the lead. And we can't let that happen. Because then it just takes like one nuclear blast or something, we're back at ground zero, and we really need our men to be strong. We cannot rely on technology as much as we do today, I think. It's like my eyebrows have been like thicker and thicker. I don't really know how to shape them now. I know, Winston. Winston. Hey. Hey, so embrace your nurturing side. Embrace the part of you that wants to stay home, that doesn't want to work outside of the house. Embrace that. You don't need to fight against that. Embrace not necessarily wanting to go off and get a PhD. You can find a husband and you can have children, and if you emphasize that part of your life, then more masculine men are going to be more interested in you. It's almost like the more different you are, the more attractive, the more opposites attract. And the more alike you are, the more you repel each other. I think a lot of masculine women have difficulty finding husbands because men don't really want to be married to another man, another pseudo-man. They want to be married to a woman. So emphasize the difference between you and men, and by being girly, you know, by embracing makeup and doing your hair, maybe your nails, by dressing in flowery clothing. And then for men, be more masculine. Work on working out, building up muscles, being more stoic, not giving in to all of your emotions, just taking a stand, being more bold. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that baby Winnie wasn't very happy sitting in his little glider. He wanted to be in it, didn't he? But it's hard for me to do my makeup without both my hands, so then he's got to be in there. He's making noise. He's making noise. So feel free to leave a comment in the comments below and let me know what other topics you'd like me to talk about. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook. Not very active on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram. And yeah, I thank you so much for liking my videos and commenting, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye! I think there's such a joy in keeping a good home, in watching your children grow up, in cooking and cleaning and supporting your husband